Coming up on Mountain News this morning, every Kentuckian is now being asked to wear a mask starting next month. And we talked with city officials in Prestonsburg about the measures they are taking to prevent the spread of COVID-19 after 3 city employees tested positive this past weekend. And COVID-19 testing here in Eastern Kentucky has been expanded to locations across 4 counties and will be available longer than originally scheduled.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, and it is feeling pretty gorgeous outside to me, if I say so myself. I did step outside this morning. It was a little nippy, but let's bring in Brandon Robinson for a look at what today has in store for us, Brandon, along with the rest of the week.
Yeah, we're looking at basically some cooler conditions this morning in some areas, and not too bad in others. Some spots a little bit warmer than it was this time yesterday, but we see a little bit of rain on live pinpoint Doppler radar. It's in clusters this morning, mostly in the northern parts of the area. Got a cell going through parts of Johnson and Floyd counties this morning, over in Pike County going into southern West Virginia, and some over into Morgan County just south there of Rowan County. We take a look at our temperatures. You can see where the clouds were not overnight, with the temperatures there in the low 40s along the Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia border, and then most of us close to 50 this morning. 72 this afternoon, scattered chances for rain early, some sunshine later on today, and again, it's going to be a fairly nice day overall, so just hang in there because tomorrow gets a little bit iffy. We'll talk more about it coming up here in a little bit. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. Governor Beshear announced the lowest number of COVID-19 cases that we have heard in a while last night. Some good news. 87 new cases were reported, bringing the state's total number of confirmed cases to more than 4,100. 5 more people have lost their lives to the virus. The death toll now stands at 216, and nearly 100 of those are in long-term care facilities. And 1,521 people have recovered from the virus. During his briefing, the governor outlined new goals for reopening parts of the state as we head into the month of May. And one of those new guidelines is that all Kentuckians are going to be asked to wear face masks in public by May 11th. Shelby Smithson has more on this new requirement, which is getting mixed reactions.
Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's how Governor Andy Beshear described his outlook as we got the first glimpse of a schedule to reopen not only healthcare services, but also the rest of the economy.
Going through this tonight, I hope gives you an idea of how we're going to gradually do this in a safe way with strict compliance to 2 guidelines.
May 11th is the date. Beshear says Kentucky will begin a gradual easing of restrictions that looks more like the White House's Phase 1. It's also the date Beshear asked that every Kentuckian have secured a cloth mask, and for businesses, masks will be mandatory.
As we reopen things, COVID hasn't gone anywhere. The cloth mask really isn't to protect you as much as it is to protect the other people around you. But in combination, if we're all wearing masks, we do each protect each other.
Protecting each other as we transition from being healthy at home to being healthy at work. As businesses begin to open and we start increasing the number of contacts we each have, health leaders say everyone wearing masks out in public and maintaining the 6 feet distance between other people are going to be more important than ever.
I urge you to not become complacent. Just because the disease right now seems to be at a plateau, it is not time to feel that you are safe. It is not time to feel that this is not still a serious threat. This is exactly the time when we are at risk for the greatest harm if people start to get lax about complying with the things we ask you to do.
As we all accept that the light at the end of the tunnel may look a little different for a while. Shelby Smithson, WYMT Mountain News.
And as the governor announces dates for certain businesses and industries to open up, he says that they can only do so if they are capable of following those new guidelines that are being put in place. And in McCreary County, officials say a man is resisting quarantine orders. The Lexington Herald reports the man came into contact with COVID-19. He is refusing to isolate and will not take a test, and the health department is asking the courts to force the man to stay at home. Prosecutors have also reached out to the sheriff's office for help. And last night we learned that Elkhorn City Police closed down their Dollar General store for not following social distancing guidelines. Police Chief Bobby Sexton says that 2 people, 1 worker and 1 customer were cited. Sexton says that his department will do and take the necessary measures to make sure and ensure the safety of its people. It is not clear how long the store will be closed. And on Saturday, Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton announced that 3 city employees tested positive for COVID-19, a person in administration, a firefighter, and a police officer. All 3 are in home isolation and are not showing symptoms. Stapleton said that they had procedures in place just in case this happened. Since City Hall also houses the police and fire departments, they all are wearing masks and using separate entrances.
Simply put, it's just locking down each department. Fire department, nobody goes in the fire department, including myself, except for the fire department personnel who is on shift. That's it. No one else.
Stapleton did say all of the firefighters are on set shifts to limit contact. So the shift the firefighter was on are now all quarantined. They will get tested later this week. And Pikeville Medical Center is offering a new service to their patients during the coronavirus pandemic. They now offer the capabilities to conduct an EKG through a drive-through. This will help serve patients who are using telemedicine to prevent them from having to go inside the hospital. Chase Reynolds with the PMC Heart Institute says they often need an EKG to truly evaluate a patient.
For us to be able to truly evaluate the patient, determine what needs to happen when we're doing it remotely, we needed a way to get an EKG to get that data and take care of those patients.
The EKG drive-through is open by appointment from 8:30 to 11:30. To schedule an appointment, you can call the PMC Heart Institute. And Governor Beshear is pushing for more testing availability across the state of Kentucky. And as of yesterday, Appalachian Regional Healthcare is now offering free testing to anyone in 4 different counties in eastern Kentucky. Highlands ARH in Prestonsburg is a hub site, meaning they receive a set amount of tests each day, distributing them to testing sites in the region. Then, at the end of each day, tests are returned and shipped out by UPS every evening at 7.
Instead of having 6 hospitals in our region all ship tests, you've got two hospitals shipping the test and processing the test. We wanted to streamline the operation.
Both state and health officials are encouraging Kentuckians to take advantage of the testing opportunities to help further flatten the curve of COVID-19. Testing is available Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. And as more COVID-19 tests is becoming available, primary care centers of eastern Kentucky also had open testing in Hazard. And after request by the governor, they extended testing through the end of the week. WYMT's Dakota Maker is to talk with one woman who got tested yesterday.
Pulling up to primary care centers of eastern Kentucky, you see these orange cones and workers wearing personal protective equipment.
We've opened this up as part of the initiative to try to get more people tested throughout the state of Kentucky. We wanted to do something locally so that the folks in eastern Kentucky would have an opportunity to come and be tested.
Sheila Combs stopped by on Monday afternoon for a test.
I just figured that, it was a good thing to do to make sure that I'm not carrying the virus and spreading it around to other people.
Combs is a grandmother. She says that she is getting a test to protect her family.
It's very important, because you can actually have the virus and not have any symptoms and spread it on to the people you love.
And the testing?
It was really simple.
She says was not so bad.
It did burn a little bit, but, as soon as it's out, it's over. It's really not no different than a flu test. If you've ever had a flu test, then it's basically the same thing.
Helping to slow the spread,
If we find someone that is asymptomatic, we can trace those and hopefully prevent that from spreading to someone who may have more severe symptoms.
One test at a time. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Hazard's Primary Care Center paired with Solaris Lab to do free testing from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. this week. All you need to do is bring your insurance card and a photo ID, and they say that they also hope to offer antibody testing soon.
Bit of rain moving through the region this morning there, basically riding along the I-64 corridor, now moving south and east into far eastern Kentucky there into parts of the Big Sandy. We're going to continue to watch that trend through about lunchtime today, off and on scattered chances. So keep the rain gear handy this morning. We're taking a look at temperatures across the region, and lack of cloud cover made it a lot colder overnight down in the Cumberland Valley there, close to the Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia border there. A little warmer, closer to 50 or above there in most locations this morning. Your emoji cast today kind of back and forth, but again, the sunshine will be out later this afternoon mixed with some clouds. Tomorrow that cold front comes through, a soggy day ahead, and then those chances will linger as we head into Thursday. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, we take a look at how COVID-19 is impacting the country on a national scale as we close in on 1 million confirmed cases.